Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. Happy Thursday to you. Thirsty Thursday, January 27th, 2011. We're one day closer, guys. We're continuing to wait for that GDP number to come out tomorrow. But in the meantime, right, we're having a great week this week. We talked about on Monday and Tuesday this week about how this week might be one of those slow, tough to kind of wait patiently for the news numbers to come out late in this week. But here we are Thursday morning. We made it through FOMC day yesterday. Fed day yesterday, made 200 ticks yesterday. An extra 270 ticks this morning. Another great day here in the room. Let's talk about what happened though. 8:30 this morning, we had jobless claims. We had durable goods, right? Thursday morning, always the same thing. But this morning was something a little bit different though. News came out, dollar bullish. Dollar bearish. We had jobless claims rising, durable goods falling, right? That's bad for the economy, right? Bad for the economy will mean dollar bearish. Dollar bearish, I'm expecting gold and crude to rise, but they didn't. We didn't see anything this morning. Now remember guys, a lot of the times the dollar correlation works extremely well, but there are two times when the dollar correlation won't work as well. One of the times is when we have low volume, and that was what we saw this morning. A little bit of low volume this morning at 8:30, and I think we know why. I think people were either A, waiting for the GDP number tomorrow, or B, we had another big snowstorm in the northeast part of this country this morning. In fact, we had the NYMEX exchange closed till 10 o'clock this morning, right? It was almost a snow day, right, for the exchanges this morning. So we had obviously people waiting, or maybe people shoveling out, right, this morning. So we had low volume for the news this morning at 8:30. Markets didn't react very well to the news, right? Kept going sideways. Now, we also noticed we had the dollar. Now, the dollar was in a wedge pattern. Now, what do we know about wedge patterns? We know wedge patterns, right? The tighter they get, the narrower that price action gets, the more challenging the rest of the market's going to be. So the dollar this morning in a nice, tight, narrow wedge pattern, that told us to be careful. So we knew this morning we had 8:30 news. We had a wedge pattern on the dollar. That gave us a heads up saying, right, beware. Then once we saw the 8:30 news not going anywhere, now we were wondering, okay, what's going to go on today? Are we going to get any moves in this market this morning? Well, we certainly did, right? Just after the news here at 8:30, the gold market starts falling off the highs. And we took 3 trades short, right? First trade short, sold the highs, took the profit at the lows, bought the lows back up, and then sold it right back on down. We made 3 trades, 8:45, 8:50, and 9:15 this morning. The first 3 trades, 30 ticks each, and we were up by almost 100 ticks, 90 ticks of profit in the first hour and 15 minutes of the day today. So this is a great way to get our day started on a Thursday. We had 10 o'clock news, we had 10:30 news, and then we had a bond sale 11 o'clock today. So we still had plenty of time. Now again, we sold the highs on the gold, 34 range chart, our slow time frame, nice big wave pattern, and we took our profit at support. Okay, then crude stays quiet all morning this morning. Remember crude this morning, guys? Crude going sideways all morning this morning. Now I sold the highs on the sideways range. That was the one trade we took this morning before 11 o'clock. Then what happened at 11 o'clock? At 11 o'clock, and guys, this happens all the time, right? You never can give up on your day. At 10:45 this morning, right, we're checking our watch going, well, should we be done, right? Should we finish today? Are we done for the day? At 10:45, we had 180 ticks in our profit. So we had plenty of money in the account. And we saw really slow price action. And my exact words were, let's not give up on this day yet, because we may see this thing start to tumble if we break these lows. Well, guess what happened? We did break those lows. But the question this morning was, why? At 11 o'clock this morning, we saw out of the blue, right, price just starts dropping. But here was the key. We had oversold momentum. Momentum was oversold. So with oversold momentum, do I feel comfortable selling the lows on crude and gold? No. And so this was a surprise for us at 11 o'clock. What ended up happening was almost every day of the week, there's a treasury sale, right? A bond auction, right? That's where the U.S., the Fed, we sell debt, right? We basically sell bonds. We sell debt to foreign investors. Well, what happened today at 11 o'clock was we had an exceptionally large bond auction this morning. And what that means is more foreign, right? More foreign money was buying up U.S. debt this morning than we'd seen in a while. Now, what do you think that means for the dollar? More foreign money buying U.S. debt. Well, in my opinion, I'm not going to buy anything unless I have confidence in its value. So right away, we know a larger than expected bond auction means foreign clients, right, outside the U.S. see enough value in the U.S. to buy their debt. That would be dollar bullish, right? So we see a bigger bond auction than expected. That means people are buying up U.S. debt. U.S. debt, that would mean they have confidence in the U.S. economy. Now remember, guys, I'm no economist, but I do know how to follow the big money. And when the big money tells me to go short, I go short. When they say go long, I go long with them. This morning, at first, we had no idea why the market was dropping. And we had oversold momentum, which made it really difficult because my exact words were, guys, I've got a sideways range. If we break the lows, expect a bounce back up. We were looking for a bounce back up. Momentum was oversold, right? Curling up from the lows. Where was the bounce? Well, eventually, after about 2-3 minutes, we realized, wait a second, something must have happened out there. So we open up my news account, look and see what the news chatter was. Aha, that's where we find out we had the bond auction. That's where we find out, right, higher than expected bond results, right, bond sales this morning. So of course that means confidence in the US dollar. US dollar will now rise, gold will now fall, crude will now fall. But again, we were under the assumption, right, oversold momentum, we want to be buying these lows. So the end of the day today was a little bit challenging. The markets were moving, but indicators were disagreeing with us, so we stayed away from the market for the most part. Now, we did have a chance, though, to sell gold and crude. We sold the gold with a wave pattern. I'm never going to sell the lows, right? Wave pattern short on the gold. This was all after 11 o'clock. And we took a couple crude trades, but we really couldn't get a good handle on crude. If you guys recall, I bought the low of day from yesterday, got a +5 scratch out of it. We then sold the highs, got a +5, -5, right? We just couldn't get the crude late in the morning to really go with any consistency. It was dropping, but it was going 4 ticks down, 10 ticks back up. So gold was the big winner today. Crude was going sideways all morning. We tried to short the crude on the way down, but it was a little bit tough to do because, again, it was late in the morning. I think we missed a lot of the big move down originally, so trying to keep selling that big move down was more of a challenge. If you were with us this morning, you saw what I was talking about, right? It was moving, but it was a challenge. Our indicators weren't lining up. We'd see big buyers, then big sellers. There was lack of consistency. But again, we were able to make some pretty good money on it. We took trades on gold 11.15, 11.25, right? Had a pretty good day with it. So the end of the morning, we learned a valuable lesson today, and that is at some point, I've got to trade what I see, not what I know. Right? What I knew this morning was that we wanted to be a buyer at those lows. But eventually, I had to get rid of that bias, right? And look at the time in sales, look at my tape, read the speed, and then once I saw the news that had come out, see, as day traders, we don't have that information all the time. So we have to find that information somewhere and then make an educated decision based upon it. All right? And that's what we did. So great job today, guys. Let's see how we did. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 total trades. As you can see, much better results than yesterday, right? Over $2,000 yesterday, but now we got $2,700 today. That brings our weekly total here to $76.10, monthly total $24,000, and of course, we'll keep you guys posted the rest of the month of January. We got, what's that here? Couple more days left, right? Couple more days left. Actually, next week we'll be in February, so almost done the month there. Almost done the month. Pretty happy though there with $25,000 and change, and we still got tomorrow to finish up. All right, now here's my dollar. Here's my dollar. Now this is one of the big red flags we got this morning, early this morning, right? Here's your price wedge. Now, a price wedge, if we can get to it right at the wider portions of it, right? If I can get to a price wedge a little bit wider, right, then I can use the price wedge. But once I start getting a little bit narrower, right, that's when I start getting in trouble, right? So once I start getting narrow like we are right now, narrow dollar, that will also equal narrow crude, narrow Russell, narrow S&P. So the dollar this morning told us be on the lookout for potentially, right, a pretty dangerous day today because the dollar is in a wedge pattern.